This time we'll move forward with the financial report by Chet Ross.
Good evening, trustees. My name is Chet Ross. I'm a partner with Shoemaker Johnson Ross in Leesburg. I'm here to present the annual financial report, audited financial statements for the Westside County Hospital District for the year ended September 30th, 2013. Each of you have received the financial statements via email that I believe Ms. Christie sent to you. Plus, you have a nice pretty copy that you can read at your leisure. If you have any questions, anything like that, that is there for you. The other item that I presented is the communication required under generally accepted auditing standards to tell you what happened in the audit. And there's really nothing in here other than I want to point out on page 2 that I discussed it with the board accountant, and we decided to go ahead and make an adjustment for the $542,600 that is due to LRMC that the board approved at their September 19th meeting to go ahead and pay. And we decided to go ahead and record it as expenditures this year in this particular fiscal year instead of waiting until it's paid, because the board has approved payment and LRMC is going to get the money whether they need it to be sent to the state under the letters of agreement or not, or whether or not they have enough claims that are approved by Moore Stevens Lovelace for this year to provide it. Either way, they get the money, so we decided to go ahead and book it. The only thing that the action the board's going to have to take is that for this current fiscal year, might need a budget adjustment to account for that. In this particular financial statement, you'll see that the health payment of health claims is a little bit over budget, but the entire fund is not, so there's no issues with that.
Are there any questions? And Pat, do you have any comments? No questions from the board? And it makes sense, the adjustment.
That's the only action we appreciate the board does, if they would approve the audited financial statement for distribution.
Okay. Thank you. We will ask if there's any public comments at this time regarding the financial report. Any comments from anyone in the audience? If not, and there are no questions from anyone on the board, do we have a motion to approve the financial report as presented?
Motion to approve the financial report.
The audit. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion, further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. It's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We'll be moving on to the next one starting in September. Thank you.
Christie, Mrs. Christie, will you do the next item, the annual report for the Board of Trustees?
Yes, ma'am. Pursuant to Chapter 2012-258, Section 4, Paragraph C, the agenda for the annual meeting of the Board of Trustees shall include, but not limited to, the items on your agenda of 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. One of these items is the presentation of the annual report of the Board of Trustees. This report has been a presentation of any minutes at this meeting that have now been held since the last annual meeting, and everything that was approved up through tonight. That is your annual report.
We've all had a chance to read the report. Are there any questions? Any concerns? I will open it up for public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this report? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board. And do we have a motion to approve the annual report? Board of Trustees, do we have a motion?
I think basically it's all the minutes that have already been approved, so this presentation doesn't.
You don't need a motion. Okay. All right. And the next item if there's any other business that needs to be brought before the board, we have the reaffirmation of Resolution 98-1 that was in your packet. And that is just the resolution that was passed back in 1998. And do we have a motion to approve that resolution, the reaffirmation? And that we also need public comment.
Correct. And if you have any questions, Ms. Mike Davis, that's that one.
We can read it for the public if you want or not.
The same one you do every year. The same one we do every year that allows me to sign the public deposits report for the state of Florida.
I'll make a motion to waive
So second,
I'll second it.
all in favor of that motion, say aye. Opposed, motion carries. So do we have a motion to approve the resolution itself?
motion to approve the
Reaffirmation.
reaffirmation of resolution 98-1.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye. Motion carries. Again, vote is unanimous. And at this time, we have the election of officers of the Board of Trustees. And if someone else would like to be chair, I'm perfectly willing to pass that gavel. So we need a motion for officers. So, and of course, Mr. Brown is not here, so we could always make him chair.
So moved.
So, what's the board's pleasure?
A motion for someone to be your chair.
Well, I think a motion that Ms. Hanson to act as chair. I know, I'm just looking at our board, we have 3 this year that are up for election, don't know how that will turn out.
That's correct.
So that just leaves, we have 3 then.
Microphone.
Oh, sorry. We have 3 that definitely will still be on the board. One of those is brand new, and the other 2. So I would just nominate Ms. Hanson to continue as the chairperson.
We need a second.
I'll second it.
And I probably should pass the gavel.
I'll be glad to do this if you want.
All right.
All those in favor of Mrs. Hanson being your chair this next coming year, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, congratulations, Ms. Hanson.
Thank you.
We do the vice chair now.
We need a motion for vice chair. Do we have someone? And Ms. Rosie, you, and then vice chair. You are up for re-election this year.
Yes, I do.
So we, and you are too, right?
Yes. And Mr. Brown.
Okay. So
3 on the left end.
Yeah.
So do we have a motion for a vice chair? Anybody willing? You can make the motion. too.
I'd make a motion that Ms. Rossi continue as the vice
Okay,
chair.
we have a motion, and is there a second? This person is still
I'll
being
second.
vice chair. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Opposed, motion carries. So,
And it needs one more, treasurer.
and we need a treasurer, so, do we have a motion for someone to serve as treasurer?
I'd make a motion that Mr. Talmadge serve as treasurer.
Do we have a are you willing? Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor of Mr. Talmadge as, treasurer, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Congratulations to you. Takes care of it. Okay. We now have the officers. Is there any old business? We didn't have any in our packets, any about new business or presentation of the quarterly audits. Now, Howard?
really begin on page 3. Down at the bottom of the page is a table indicating the final amounts that each of the providers have earned for the quarter. It's been a year now since the providers have been under this audit process, and I have to tell you, they're getting good at it. And the training has worked, and you'll notice the pace of submissions has really picked up. In fact, if you look at the Schedule A, the last page of the report, that accompanies the report there, and see the amount submitted to date, you can compare that to the amount budgeted. You can see that some of these clinics are going to, like for example, let's just look at St. Luke's, that's the first one. They've already spent more than half of their allotment in the first quarter. The reason for that isn't that they're doing anything different than they did in the same quarter in 2012, other than collecting the information necessary to make a valid submission. And they have made adjustments to their processes so that they capture that information at the front end, they have good documentation, and they're ready for us when we walk in the door. And so I just want to point that out, that it looks like the clinics are some of them might be in a situation where they will be able to spend and document their spending in excess of their allotments. Just thought I would point that out.
It was a learning curve, certainly.
There was a learning curve.
Are there any questions regarding the report? It looks good.
I had a question. Do we have any numbers on the cost per care, inpatient versus outpatient for the hospitals?
No, we don't have that broken out separate. We have that information. It's in our files. We could, if you wanted to distribute that. I don't know, with Sunshine, can we just email that to Meredith? Okay.
It would be great to see.
And she'll
that.
distribute it.
Yeah, I'd just be interested to see, it looks like, based on what the numbers that I've seen, spending at this rate about $1 million a month, and it's looking like based on that rate that we're going to come in short about $4 million by the end of the fiscal year. So I'm just wondering, it'd be interesting to see, especially as we have an increasing number of outpatient facilities available, if we're seeing any move towards the outpatient facilities from inpatient to keep the cost of care as efficient as possible.
Right. Yeah, obviously outpatient is a much more, the economics are more compelling.
Are there any other questions? Appreciate your question.
All right, so, and for future quarters, we'll break that out, inpatient versus outpatient for each of the two hospitals.
That would be great.
Okay.
Becky, do you have any comments? Yes. And if you'll wait just a moment, let's see if there's any public comment. Here, I can't see, but if you'll come forward, please. Okay. How are you? I couldn't see.
Good evening, all. I'm Karen Berry Preston, and I run the St. Luke's Free Medical Clinic in Eustis. And I thank you for allowing a comment. I just have a question more than a comment. We had anticipated having growth, as Harlan said, and so we asked for a little over $100,000 this year. We are already going to spend that within the first half of the year. We were allotted $50,000, which we're already going to spend. So my question is, if there is another clinic or another agency that's not spending the money that's allocated in the budget, in the overall budget, is there any way later to ask for more funding based upon this $50,000 that you gave us was based upon last year's figures, which was what we did. This year we're doubling that, so I didn't know if there's any leeway at all or any flexibility with that as we go forward in the year. I don't know
but the excess money was spent on those that had the service. Now, if everybody meets their target, there will be funds left over.
Well, I'm sure the hospitals will more than think that, I know that, because their need is huge, and we're tiny compared, but I was just wondering, what would be the process if that was the case? Like, do we go back, or does Mr. Hausman have to say, well, he's giving you a quarterly report, and on that you can see that we've already spent out, or what, I don't...
What we did last time was, I had worked out several spreadsheets, and some of them were just allocations based on original budget, so that if everybody, just had to see where it fell.
So, like, there's not a special request, or there's, I wouldn't know what to do other than his report. I guess I would just come back at your next meeting, and if there is, then I could do public comment again.
I think
Would
at
that be
this
the way
point,
to do it?
you're requesting now that the board take a look at that, and at year end, once all the figures are in, make an reallocation.
So you'd have to wait till year end, not mid-year, to see.
Yeah,
Because you're already committed.
We've got the budget and you're committed, but at year end, after July, after June 30th, numbers are turned in, we know where everybody falls. So then what you're doing is just asking the board
If there is...
to, this will be something that'll be on that agenda, that may or may not be able to look at a reallocation.
Okay.
And we knew that your numbers were low when we approved the budget, we knew that. Well, we knew that you would do better this year, if you were more familiar with the process.
We're smaller than some of the other agencies, and we're tickled. We're very happy. We're very happy to have what we do, but I know we're going to send it out early this year, and so my thought is there any flexibility? So thank you for letting me know that, and we'll look forward to maybe if there is some flexibility we can look at that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for all that you do. Are there any other questions?
Bill Braun, General Counsel for Healthcare, Central Florida, North Carolina. Just because the topic got brought up, I think it is going to be the ongoing challenge for this board is that there is only one bill of tax dollars, and as you pointed out, you're going to be $4 million, probably more short than the need. And that's going to be the ongoing struggle for the board is to figure out how do they determine where to put the money and what is, because the need's there. It's obvious that we're getting better at showing the need, which we've always documented the need, but now it's even more clear. And the other thing I want to address, there is a lot of procedures that I think Meredith could probably provide and talk about how to allocate the funds at the end of the year. So that was already approved by the board, and there is a process that y'all have. You guys have those out there. It talks about how we audit and where the money goes and all that. So if she wants that, it may help.
Thank you very much. Are there any? Mr. Holcomb?
Stan Shokum with FiscalRangers.com. I agree with the request that you have a mid-year review. It seems appropriate that if you have one clinic, because the whole idea of this legislation was to create an outlet in payments for clinics because they operate at a lower cost to make funds available for them, and I would think that waiting until the end of the year is not appropriate. I mean, I've never worked in an organization, not even a government agency, that would wait till the end of the year. They might find by surprise that they have money available, but if you have people that aren't spending what they should be spending in the first 6 months, or turning in reimbursement requests, then I think you ought to review that and give it to those who are doing that. And especially, I've always been a supporter of the clinics, and so I think you ought to develop a process to review that at mid-year. Thank you.
Any comments? Have any other comments? I suspect all the dollars will be used this year. That's going to be, it will be tough. but we can't take from those that we've already committed to this year. But the comments are very valid. Are there any other comments on this particular item? There being none, we'll bring it back to the board for approval, the quarterly audits.
I'll make a motion to approve the quarterly audit.
And do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Vote is unanimous. And the next item is the scheduling of budget and special meetings. And,
Yes, you have a list in your packet of the meetings that we would suggest you set these dates. We've already cleared them with the clerk's office and we reserve this room. And if you notice, August is when, August the 21st is when the funding request is made. And that will give me time then to work on the preliminary budget. It's not the same time as that.
okay, so you have your schedules. Do we need a motion to approve those or just announce? Okay, so you have those.
Going down.
Yes. You want to do that?
Thursday, March 20th at 5:30, we'll be reviewing the December audit. Thursday, May 22nd at 5:30, we'll review the March audit. Thursday, August 21st, we'll be reviewing the June audit and the presentation of the funding request on that evening. Thursday, September 18th at 5:30 is the preliminary budget meeting. Thursday, September 25th, final budget meeting. And Thursday, January 22nd, 2015, the annual meeting.
Okay. You all have those. I'm sure you have it.
I'll send them out to you.
Okay.
They'll be posted also on the website. Actually, they're already posted on the website.
Good for you. Okay.
But they have to be approved tonight, so they're posted as tentative dates.
Do we have a motion to approve the meeting dates as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting dates.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Okay, put those on your calendar. Okay, are there any other items kind of for the board to achieve the goals?
Just for information purposes, we've got the first checks for the first 2 quarters of the letters of agreement, and they will go out next week. So I'm going to separate checks for each letter for the first quarter and separate checks for each agreement for the second quarter. And then I'll send it up with the schedule on the letter next week.
If you wish to discuss the Florida Statute 286.0114, Ms. Hanson,
Which one is that one?
that's the one that requires public input. And everyone has a copy of that statute at the end of your packet.
Right. It's been mentioned that we, actually, Ms. Roper mentioned that we should have public comment, and we have been doing that, but we've not made it a policy and not been on the agenda. So, Meredith, did you want to get into details on that?
This legislation was recently passed in the 2013 legislation. The county recently, in October, passed an ordinance that created a public participation ordinance for the county commission, and the recommendation would be that we have something similar in accordance with the statute that requires the public the opportunity to be heard. There are certain times that that's not necessary, such as you have a ministerial act or ceremonial proclamation. We can outline, similar to what the county has followed, The county also has limited the public input to 3 minutes per speaker. That's up to your board, but I would recommend that we adopt some procedure in accordance with the statute that outlines the public's right to have comment throughout the agenda, and it's up to the board whether they want to limit the time period. It does say that you can limit the time period, and also if there are representatives of certain groups, then rather having all members of the groups, you can limit it to a representative. So the statute has been provided to you. If you would like to review it and bring it back to the next meeting, I'll be glad to give you a proposed resolution similar to what the county has passed, and then just make sure that the agenda has the appropriate language where public input is required.
If you can bring that back, if the board agrees, have Ms. Kirsty bring that back to the next meeting for approval. I know that on the county commission, we always have public comment, and we generally limit it to 3 minutes, but if anyone has another item that may take longer at the end, we can always adjust that. Generally, 3 minutes is plenty to make a point. And probably have the public comment as we did tonight after particular items within the agenda, and then have it listed. This is what I think, and then have an item at the very end for public comment, because it may be public comment that's not regarding anything that we've already discussed during the meeting. It's a completely different item that may not have been on the agenda earlier. So if you can bring that back with your recommendations. This wasn't in the email that we received.
No, it was not.
So
No.
you just received that this
Correct.
evening. So I think that would be good. So another item was mentioned for emails. Can you summarize that item?
We do have, each one of you has an email. It is your first initial and your last name at northlakecountyhospitaldistrict.org. It is listed on the website. In order for you to access that, you have to go to this website and click on your name, and then you will have to create your own personal password. We have been sending out some of the information to you in your private email address. I have looked up in the Government Sunshine Manual. It does not expose all of your private emails to public records requests, but those that we have sent to you is subject to public record request if we send it to your private email. So from now on, we're going to be sending it to you through the website address that's listed there. So we'll make a note to you to please check that, and also go in and set your password. I'll send you out a reminder tomorrow, again, of what it is. And it's also, I think there's a copy in your packet with your email address.
So you will notify us on our personal email to check.
I will. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are there any comments or is there any discussion regarding emails? Those policies will be added, as you said, to the website. Another item that's been brought up is sunshine laws, and I know Ms. Kirsty provides a booklet regarding sunshine for each new member, and I didn't get one, but I know about the sunshine law. But
If we failed to give you one, that's okay. I did give Ms. House one tonight, and I just wanted to reiterate again, if you're in any gathering, formal or casual or anything, there's 2 or more of you there, and there's a possibility that there's a discussion of anything that even potentially could come before the board, that would be a violation if you're starting to discuss that. So you might be invited to speak at a forum, whether it be at the college or any other forum, and if there's 2 of you there, then you're going to have a violation. So please just make note of that. You can be in public gatherings, but don't be discussing any of the business that usually comes before this board. It's a small community, you just have to be aware of that, okay?
another item along with that is, it's very easy to slip up on, and that is becoming a conduit. In other words, you got another friend, and you might innocently talk to that friend about an issue, and then that friend goes to somebody else on the board, then you effectively create a violation without knowing it. So so it has to be very, very good. Okay, are there any questions on sunshine? If you ever have any questions, call Mrs. Kirsty. Okay, are there any items come for the board? And we've already had public comment. Does any of this raise any other issues?
Van Shielkum again. Thank you very much for bringing up those transparency issues. I appreciate it. Rather have it discussed early rather than have to discuss it later. And thank you for putting all the documents on the website now. It's all starting to find stuff. Okay. The one thing that I wanted to bring up, and Mr. Braun is I'm going to discuss this and roll into him, is that when the state legislators had their forum last year, Mr. Braun appeared before them and proposed that they consider delaying the vote date for that's specified in HB 1299, which is the authorization for this committee. And I would just like to point out that that was after a lot of fights of people and requesting that the vote take place because there had never been one in half of this North County, and the other half had never been able to vote on it for years and years. And so the issue needs to be in the public, and so that they can discuss it, and the proponents of continuing this tax can talk about it, and the ones that don't want it can talk about it. And I would really suggest that you be very careful, in my view, my opinion, if you are to get involved in any process to try and initiate a delay or elimination of that 2016 voting date or anything related towards setting it up. Okay? Thank you. And maybe Mr. Braun wants to talk about that. I don't know.
If you'd like to public comment. I don't see this board taking any initiative in that direction, so, but there may be comments out there in the community, so we don't control that. Okay, anybody wants to say anything else? Mr. Carpenter, we appreciate your being here. Don't you wish you were back here? You cleaned it all up during the meetings you had.
Yes, you did great.
Okay, is there anything else anyone would like to say? Okay, seeing none in items, we will stand adjourned. Thank you very much.